it's the connection between forgiveness and letting go of the desire for the parent that you wanted. You are right that your parent harmed you, hurt you deeply, but the freedom that you so desire is not possible without letting go of what they owe you and doing what it says in the Lord's Prayer of letting go of the job of prosecutor. You've got to hand the job of prosecutor over to somebody else, or you will stay
Oh,
stuck.
two
Mm.
two Bible, I mean, two things that guided me through this passage. One was vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. That if I can see somebody who's hurting me desperately and back up and say, give this to God, vengeance belongs to God, and God will wreak vengeance in ways I cannot imagine. And he will exact the exact proper dose. And I learned to do that with my brother. I could see what was going on. And then if you back up, you will watch God exact vengeance. And that is understanding a vengeful God, but the Bible tells us that is part of it. And the other was Christ on the cross. And forgive them for they know not what they do. I just worked with that phrase until I could understand it and what must Christ have meant. And I translated it in my mind to the unconsciousness of that it gave us
Yeah,
a path out, that they truly do not know what they do, that and the implication is in time they may. And
yeah,
how many millions of people have used Christ on the cross as both a path out and a path at. It's been
yeah,
used a million different ways, but for the spiritual seeker, he's pointing the
yeah.
way out of vengeance.
Absolutely. And I think it's very important as well to note we were just working with this. I've just got back from a week-long retreat, which is called Grief to Grace. And we do a meditation on Christ on the cross to help people better understand forgiveness and what it is and what it isn't.
How do you
And
how do you do that? Similar to this?
so we work with what we call living scriptures.
Mm.
So we read the relevant scripture passage, and then we use it's an Ignatian method of imaginative meditation and prayer on the passage. Ask people to imagine themselves in it. There's psychoeducation, psychodrama. It's a real mixed bag, but a key piece on that verse is Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. So Christ doesn't say, I forgive them. He says, Father, forgive them. So Christ also hands it over to God.
Oh, I've never pondered that.
Yeah, it's worth pondering. And I
Yeah.
think as well that vengeance piece, that's really, really tough thing to meditate on. But again, I would come back to this idea of spiritual physics that, you know,
Yes. Yes, exactly.
right,
Exactly. It has
that
nothing to do
it's
with you. Your job is
it's
to step back and give it to God.
give it to God. And then, anybody who's been trapped in addiction knows that, the addiction is its own cross.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
a horrid way to live,
Yes.
So I think we could, yeah, but I find it very helpful. And I come back to a book club. So I have a Step 11 book club that I set up to help people better understand the Step 11 part and explore it. And we were gathered one night and talking about forgiveness as a result of whatever book we had read. And I shared that for me, forgiveness is about not exacting the price myself, but handing it over to God. And that with some big wounds, it was only possible to forgive because I have an understanding that God will sort it. He is the judge and jury, not me. And somebody around the table said that's not forgiveness. They thought it wasn't forgiveness because I was letting God do it rather than doing it myself. And I thought about that and I thought, okay, that's the way you see it. And we had a wonderful discussion, but afterwards I came to the conclusion, no, I'm going to stick with my one because there are some that are just so big. I can't do it. I can't do it. I have to
Put your
relinquish my
faith in something
right.
larger than yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Hand it to a power greater than myself.
Well, you know, you bring to mind, I did this book called Forgiving and Moving On, sort of early in my recovery because I recognized that I had to do it or I just couldn't get past here and I couldn't stop writing it. I couldn't stop. So it became a book. And my priest and we raised our children in New York, but we grew up in Minneapolis, and we had just the best priest you could wish for, Greek Orthodox priest. As a He baptized me, he used my baptismal name always, and he was just such a spiritual good man. And unbeknownst to me, my mother, I think, or somebody sent me the church bulletin, and he had published one of my pages in the church bulletin from that book. And it
Wow.
was we forgive if we are wise to free ourselves. I haven't even looked up but it's another angle at it, and they're all good angles, right? But
Yeah.
for me at that time, I was having to say it's more important for me to be free of this than to hold hatred around, So I was forgiving to free myself. Felt very
Right.
clear that this is for me. They may get it, they may not get it, they may benefit, they may not. And the hardest thing for me to get over was, what do they benefit from But then I had to kind of think, okay, there's some spiritual chemistry to that too. But you
Yeah.
don't know it at the time.
No, you don't. And that's why it takes trust, right?
Yeah.
It takes trust. And I recently spent 2 years meditating on trust because you're in recovery way longer than me, but I'm in a little while now, but I know that there's more of the journey to go. I want greater freedom and to surrender deeply requires trust. So, and I pray and meditate on that, my husband and I, he's also in recovery, we I often think, and we say to each other, I hope when the time comes and our children stand or sit in front of us and list the ways in which we harmed them, that we are able to receive it and to give them what I longed for but have never received. And now over time I'm really coming to accept that it's probably not coming, and I don't need it. I don't require it. I can live happy and free without it. um I want it for myself. I want it for myself. And I think our mental health improves to the extent that we get ever more radically committed to reality. And so circling back to what we were saying, what about the person who says, I can't forgive? It's like I say, interrogate it. Is it really true? Is it really true?